Have a swing, Goodsell. So, I watched Thor 1 last night. Again. Rewatched it. Because I wanted to get prepared for number 4. That just came out on DVD and got a hold of it. And I noticed that his first travel journey, right at the beginning of the movie, was on a white horse. I went, oh, look at that. And there's a thing that real scientists do when they're doing research, is they look for patterns. And so all of religions and cultures, scripture, have a similar hero pattern. And a white horse tends to be one of those. Revelation chapter 19. Along with Thor has a hammer, Jesus has an iron rod, or the one character in John's Revelation. And then there's the sword of King Arthur. And so and when he loses his powers, Odin, his father, who, notice his right eye is missing. Yep, as he's transferring power to his son and then decides not to. Yeah. It's all the same pattern for the latter days. But yeah, the hammer gets stuck in the ground and earth, and everybody tries to pull it out and they can't. King Arthur. The sword. And so all of these are very much the same. Even in the book of Jasher, Moses has that story too, in a different format. But all of this has to do with the latter days, as I've gone over with you. And you don't believe it, but I am the only and foremost and only Mormon scholar on the latter days. However, as Gospel Lessons, who remains anonymous, tells us, he doesn't believe I'm a scholar on the latter days, as I wasn't listed among other scholars who are better than him on the topic matter. I didn't see me in there. And so the video that I'm reviewing of his is Will the Saints Return to Missouri? And how many of you know that I have my #1 video of all time on that topic? Oh, nobody? Do you not know that you can go to my homepage and then click on the video page and then click on most popular? Has anybody ever even bothered to try that? No? Strange. Sort by most popular. LDS dates for the return to Independence, Missouri. 51 minutes, 22 seconds, 39K. 5 years ago. 5 years ago. And you'll notice that there's a sign in the heavens. What does that have to do with the return to Independence, Missouri? If you're not going to study Mormonism and research Mormonism, if you're only going to read, if you're only going to listen to others who have no knowledge on the subject matter other than to be able to read themselves and regurgitate what they read to you. Because his video is full of quotes. That's it. That's all. He can't do any of his own work. He can't do any presentation of a video subject matter on his own. He has no testimony because he has never tried to obtain a witness. Though I'm sure he claims a spiritual witness about many things. And so that's the difference between somebody who knows of a subject matter and somebody who knows the subject matter. And like I said, I am the foremost and only Mormon scholar. I am the expert in Mormonism because I studied. I did the research. And I take the blows of those who hate me because of it. Because Mormons assume that, well, if we study Mormonism, we'll then know the church is true. Joseph, yes. Brigham, no. And nobody understands this. And so, let's stick back to his question on the subject of his video. Will the saints return to Missouri? And the answer is no. But maybe. And so it's necessary to help you catch up on what you've been missing. The Exodus was supposed to occur in 2020. But the Exodus was not supposed to be to Missouri. It's supposed to be to southern Illinois. And already you're lost. This is what happens when you don't study, when you don't do your research, when you trust the light from others, which is not really light, it's darkness, because darkness is falsehood, light is truth. And so there's a couple of things that need to be separated from each other. Will the saints return in an exodus? And where will that exodus be? And so the first one, will there be an exodus? The answer, I already said, no, you missed it. It's 2020. And so now what we're looking at is the day that shall burn as an oven, when everything will be utterly destroyed. This is from Joseph Smith in what the church wrongfully calls his history. They are visions and dreams according to Numbers chapter 12, verse 6. It has nothing to do with literal truth, literal history. But again, you're not going to study, you're not going to do your research. And so you'll believe whatever you're going to believe, and you're not going to believe me. It's the Book of Mormon that informed me that it was supposed to be 2020. Because it's right there at the beginning of the Book of Mormon, and then the part that says 600 years from the time Lehi left Jerusalem will be the signs in the heavens. And there was a sign in the heavens 600 years from the time Lehi left Jerusalem, which was the first year of the reign of King Zedekiah, which was 8 April 4 CE, which was 20 years before the final day of the latter days, 8 April 2024. So already you're lost because you're not following my channel. You're trusting with what the church is lying and deceiving you with, and you've been led astray. And so everything is foreign and weird and strange and therefore wrong. Exactly. And so the signs in the heavens are our clue. Signs in the heavens occur on a specific date. And when you have a sign in the heavens which combines enough celestial bodies in the conjunction, you have a more precise date that is given. And so John in Revelation chapter 12 and then in chapter 19, gives us the first and the last years, dates specifically, of the latter days. Thus, all prophecies of the latter days are supposed to fit within that time frame. So Matthew 24, all within that time frame. The parables after that, Matthew 25, all within that time frame. So when the church says that they've been gathering the elect from the four quarters of the earth and spreading the gospel throughout all the world, no, that has something to do specifically with the latter day time period. And that needs to be known. Otherwise, you're going to create scripture that does not exist and is false, creating prophecy that will never happen. And then you'll disappoint yourself because it never happens the way you self-fulfill your own prophecy. Now, the Exodus can only occur if there's a great and abominable church to exodus from. Without a great and abominable church, there can be no Exodus. So, since Mormons believe that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the one true Church of Jesus Christ, they don't see the church as wicked. They see the inverted pentagram of Lucifer on the keystone of the doors of the Salt Lake Temple, and they make excuses. Oh, that's Jesus condescending to us. Oh, that refers to the terrestrial kingdom. What? That's the lowest kingdom. Telestial, I guess. Yeah, terrestrial, telestial, yeah. What are you talking about? You just dig a deeper hole for the church when you're not even authorized to speak for the church. And then go around spreading it to the rest of the world. Thus, apologists are the worst defenders of the church because they keep getting the church in worse trouble than if they had just remained silent about the matter and just simply said, I don't know. I don't know. Nonetheless. And so, the Mormons, as other men are plagiarized, rebelled against the king and refused to leave the great and abominable church. That is just hilarious. And so, yeah, as a result, they have to justify their rebellion and say that that wasn't the Exodus time and there was no Christ because that's Jesus. They have no clue that we're supposed to be Jewish. And so the Mormons missed it. So what's happening next? The utter destruction. Day that shall burn as an oven. And notice I already gave you the final year with the final date. So, wow. Coming up pretty soon, huh? Yeah. So what's going to happen then? Well, there will be an utter desolation, an utter destruction. And what happens after a destruction occurs? Well, we just had an example with Ian in Florida. The destruction occurred, and then the survivors are trying to rebuild their lives. That's what we see from the Book of Mormon telling us what will happen, is that from the destruction, the survivors who are Mormon will say, well, we can't stay here. Well, yeah, we can. We can rebuild. Yeah, that's what I've done the video for that. There will be different Mormons who will believe differently. because they don't know the truth. And so there will be those who will want to rebuild Utah. There will be those who say, I guess we're supposed to go to Missouri. We must have been the ones left behind. We're not Christian. We don't believe in the rapture. But there are Mormons left behind. And so they'll head on out to Missouri, either walking, depending on what transportation is available after the destruction. I know when I was forced to make that video, it was because of my wife at the time, who demanded I give her the date of when we were going. And she insisted she was not going to walk. Unfortunately, I'm concerned that she is going to fulfill the prophecy of those Mormons who are destroyed. But nonetheless, notwithstanding. And so only those who know of my video, and it might have been a while now, but I actually gave you the map location of the actual spot. The X marks the spot of where we're going. And it's very unlikely that anybody will actually go there, because nobody listened to their Christ. Nobody watches my videos, thanks to YouTube. As I see the Mormon is out and about this weekend, having learned from Nelson, don't stop the abuse. And so you're going to go to the wrong place. Why is it important to go to the right place? Well, there are going to be some consequences for going to the wrong place. However, in section 103, verse 16, well, not 16, that's the Exodus that you missed, of the Christ who you missed. Let's see. Redemption, angels, making a parable. Verse 22. He's talking about gathering yourselves to the land of Zion, upon the land which I have bought with money, that has been consecrated unto me. When was the land bought? Is there a receipt, maybe carved in stone, saying maybe Kensington? Yeah, but you have to understand that Joseph Smith Sr. was a York Rite Master Mason, and thus he would have known about the York Rites who made it to Kensington with the Kensington stone, by which it is therefore named, which is the receipt of the purchase of the eastern half of the United States, where X marks the spot. And so Joseph Smith, in an unpublished by Brigham Young document, is 19 July 1840. And you got to go to the B. And in that talk, Joseph Smith exposes a lot of stuff. If it were to be made known by the church would destroy itself by merely presenting it to the world. And I'm kind of surprised that they allowed for this Joseph Smith Papers release. You'd think they'd want to keep it all a secret. Nope. They're allowing Mormons, because I'm sure they've got confidence that no Mormon would ever study their scriptures from the original sources. Thus, they're feeling safe. 19 July 1840, B. Joseph Smith Papers. It's all you need to know in order to Google search it and find it. And in that talk, Joseph Smith says that we were supposed to have built the mountain cities of Zion and New Jerusalem. And on the top of Zion, for the capstone, is the house of the Lord. Which, nobody left for the Exodus, therefore nobody's building it. Therefore, 3 Nephi chapter 11 will never come to pass. Oh, right, because they were the survivors of the utter destruction that occurred in the story, and they're now at the Temple of Bountiful, the Zion Temple, and Jesus comes to his temple. Church did a whole video on this for conference. Didn't you watch it? And yeah, again, if you do not know, the Book of Mormon is the learning of the Jews. We are told this right at the very beginning of the book. It is written in the learning of the Jews. What is the learning of the Jews? Well, Nephi tells us in 2 Nephi chapter 25 that it's after the manner of prophesying, similar to Isaiah. And thus, the Book of Mormon is not... That's the Mormon version. That the Book of Mormon is not literal history. Do you hear that, ex-Mormons? You've been pushing an issue that is a non-issue. All you needed to do was show Mormons those 2 passages from the Book of Mormon, and you would silence them immediately, like the views on my channel after conference. The Book of Mormon was written specifically as prophecy. So what's the date? Well, in the beginning of the Book of Mormon, 2017. 3 Nephi 11, 2024. Ta-da! It's just like the Gospels. At the beginning is the birth that starts his ministry. 2017. They even tell us, because Revelation chapter 12, verses 1, 2, and 5 gives us the star date of that particular sign that is told in story form in the Bible. And then 3 Nephi 11 is the crucifixion death sign in the heavens. X marks the spot on earth. Wow. See, in Gospel Lessons has his thumbnail as a lunar eclipse, and he doesn't have a clue. Nope. I did a whole video series about how each president of the church from Brigham Young died under lunar eclipses and solar eclipses. And if you don't understand why I'm laughing hysterically, you've never gone to the official declaration, number 1, verse 11. And so, it's the great and abominable church, guys. And that's how blinding they are to you. How lying, deceptive, evil people they are. Is because they fooled all the members of their church. And those who couldn't stand it got out of the church. And they just don't want anything to do with the truth, let alone the church. That's how successful they've been, and they're winning. And so, will the survivors do the right thing? No. We've already seen them not do the right thing. They don't study, they don't research, and so when destruction comes, they're going to be lost. They won't know what to do, and all their hopes will be gone, and crying like the survivors of Ian.